Section 9.3, Answering Questions about the Mean of a Population. So recall from Chapter 7 that confidence intervals are used for estimating parameter values. We're now going to modify the confidence intervals to work with means. So first, your CLT conditions have to hold, and so for means, our sample must be greater than or equal to 25. A reminder that confidence level measures how well the method that we use to produce the confidence interval performs. And again, remember the 95% is standard. There are any other, but that one's the standard one. And confidence intervals for means have the same basic structure as they did for the proportions when we did them in Chapter 7. They're created by taking your estimator, so in this case the mean is our estimator in this case, plus or minus the margin of error, and the margin of error is that standard error that we calculate. The only difference really in how we take care of these is with means, we will now go to t-stats in StatCrunch, and we will use the t-distribution instead of going to proportion stats and calculating that z statistic. Okay, let's just jump right into some questions then. So based on a random sample of 35 two-year colleges, a 90% confidence interval for the mean in-state tuition at two-year colleges from 2012 to 2013 was from $2,611 to $3,227. So that's the confidence interval. This was the 90% interval was 2611 to 3227. And that was in 2012 to 13. Then they examined all of the data from 2008 and 2009, and in that time frame they learned that the mean population in-state tuition was $2,517. So we know for sure that the mean in 08-09 is exactly $2,517. So we want to answer here, does the confidence interval provide evidence that the mean tuition changed? Okay, so we know that it was this, and we are 90% confident, right? That's how we interpret a confidence interval. So we are 90% confident that the mean in the 12-13 year is between these two values. Is there evidence then, based on those two ideas, that a change has happened? So it used to be this. We are now confident that it is somewhere between here. So what we want to do is we want to say, well, this value is actually not in there, right? It's not in here. It falls out here. So we are not very confident at any value outside of this. All the values inside this interval we're confident in, but if it falls outside of that, then we would not be confident in that. So it looks like here that there is some evidence that it has changed. So there is evidence that the mean tuition has changed. And why? Because the 2517 is not in the confidence interval. So that one was just an interpretation. There was no calculating to be done. Just the idea of when you have a confidence interval that you are equally confident about any value inside of it, but if it's outside of that, and then all of a sudden you're not confident that that could still be the right number. Okay, let's see. Number 2, a chain of pizza stores published data on the size of its pizzas to convince the public of their value. Using a random sample of 125 pizzas, The store found that the mean diameter was 11.5 inches with standard deviation of 1/4 of an inch. We want to use StatCrunch to calculate a 95% confidence interval, and we want to interpret that interval. So the first thing we want to make sure is that we have hit the condition, which we have in this case. So the sample is big enough because 125 is definitely bigger than 25. So we should be able to just go to StatCrunch and use this. So again, as a reminder, we want to use T-Stats to do this because it's a mean. And we're going to go in and find, in this case, they want particularly the 95% confidence interval. And I'm just going to set that up. Okay, and we'll need our values here. We'll need the 11.5 inches and the 1/4 of an inch when we go to do this. So we're going to go under our T-Stats, one sample, and we have a summary here, summary information. The mean was, I'm trying to remember, 11.5, so 11.5. The standard deviation was 0.25, and the sample size was 125. And we are creating a 95% confidence interval for mu, and notice it shows it as mu here, so you should know you're in the right place. Though I see the word mean on this page, I see the symbol mu on this page, so I'm working with means. All of that is a good sign. And there I have my lower and my upper limits. So somewhere between like approximately 11.46 and 11.54. So what we could say in this case as far as the interpret part is we are 95% confident that the mean diameter of all pizzas, right? Because it's about the whole population. So of all pizzas from this restaurant are between these values. So are between 11.46 inches and 11.54 inches.